Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Peace to you. Welcome back to the What If Project vlog. My name is Glenn Siepert. I'm the host of the show. I am the voice behind the mic who cannot sing. And I am the fingers behind the keyboard. And it's great to see you here. Last week, we talked a little bit about a book I'm reading called Jesus and the Bicameral Brain by Dr. James Danaher. And I've stepped up the game a little bit because last week I was reading it on my iPad. But this week, Dr. Danaher was kind enough to send me a copy of the book, Jesus and the Bicameral Brain, Knowing and Being. He even autographed the front of it for me because he is the best. He's the best. I wanted to read something. Where is it? Is this it? That's it. Yeah. So I want to read something for you from the book in a moment. But real quick to kind of back up for a minute and review from last week. Bicameral. If you don't know what that word is, don't feel bad. I had no idea either. I Googled it. Bicameral refers to two chambers in the brain, right? So you've got the left chamber, and then you've got you guessed it, the right chamber. So the left chamber is all about facts, knowledge, gaining information, absolute truth, trying to figure out what is the answer to this thing, right? The left brain is obsessed with knowledge and answers. And that fits really well in our world. For the most part, I should say for the most part, it fits really well in the Western culture, right? Because the Western culture is all about finding the answers and having the truth and knowing what is real and what isn't real and all this different kind of stuff. That's the left brain. The right brain is much different. The right brain is more into imagination, more into creativity, more into asking the question of this podcast. What if? There are many ways to understand this thing. What if when the left brain says there's one way to understand, let's say, this particular passage of the Bible, the right brain says, what if that's just an answer? What if that's just one way to understand it? What if there's multiple ways to think about this thing? So the right brain's into imagination, the left brain is into facts. And both of these pieces of our brains theoretically work together to help us function and help us to live and to move and to be in the world. So that's a quick recap of what we talked about last week with the book. But I'm reading this one part this morning, and I read this and I highlighted it and I put the book down because it really made me think about my life and really made me think about my past life, my pre-deconstruction days back in college and seminary, even pastoring a church, really up until just a few years ago. But this is what he says. I'm gonna read some stuff and I'm gonna stop once in a while to give you some I don't know, some play-by-play thoughts as that are going through my mind. I don't know. I don't edit these, by the way. I just kind of I hit record and I just let my mouth go, and we just hope that it comes out in a coherent way. So anyway, it says this: if our concept of God has not changed over the last few years, okay, I hope you're sitting down. If our concept of God has not changed over the last few years, we do not have a personal relationship with God. We just have a left-brained belief system. Wow. If our concept of God has not changed, we don't have a personal relationship with God, but a left-brain belief system. Why? Think about my relationship with my wife. We've been married for 11 years, and we've known each other for a lot longer than that. And I can tell you that our relationship today is 10 million times different than it was all those years ago. Why? Because the relationship has grown, because we have a personal relationship. She's changed. I've changed. We've changed. How we understand each other has changed. There's been growth. There's been evolution. Things are different. And in 20 years from now, it's going to be different again. It just keeps growing and changing. But when we live in our relationship with God out of that left-brained mentality, of facts and theologies. Theologies don't change. Doctrines don't change. The systematic theology book I have on my shelf, one of them was written in the 70s, right? It's the same as it was 40 years ago, and it's going to be the same 40 years from now, right? It's the same. And so he says that's not a personal relationship. That's just left brain knowledge. You have knowledge about God. You don't know God as much as you think you do. That's challenging, right? So if that offends you, I totally get it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna offend you a little bit more. Our over-identification with the left brain's knowing is what causes us to miss out on the deeper experiences that come out of the openness of mind that not knowing involves. Our over-identification with the left brain's knowing causes us to miss out on deeper experiences. Listen, friends, when we live our relationship with God only out of the left-brained facts, knowledge, theologies, doctrines, memorize all these different figures about God and know these big words. He's omnipotent, he's omniscient, he's all these different things, right? When we narrow down God into that, we squeeze him into the left brain, we miss what the right brain has to offer. Right? We miss out on a deeper experience with God. We've made the unknowable God knowable, or so we think we've made the unknowable God knowable. We've robbed the mysterious of the mystery, right? When we live out of the left brain, we miss out on the deeper experiences of the right brain. And now comes the kicker. Here it is. Now I hope you're sitting down. He says, what's nice about having a static belief system about God rather than a personal relationship is that if God doesn't change, I don't have to change either. And so when someone says, my mind is made up, right? My mind is made up. This is what I believe. This is my truth, and I will not budge from it. When someone says, my mind is made up, what they mean is that their mind is closed to any experience that might present anomalies to what they claim to know and believe. Again, what's nice about a static belief system about God rather than a personal relationship is that if God doesn't change, I don't have to change either. And that sounds like we're just railing on conservative evangelicals, right? Really, because listen, I lived in that world. You know, that's one thing. People always tell me, oh, you're way too hard on the evangelical church. Listen. I didn't just sit in the front row seats and watch the game. Okay. I played on the field. I got muddy and dirty and bloody on the field. Okay. I lived that world. I did internships in that world, pastored in that world, educated in that world. So if anybody's going to fire a shot, I'm going to fire some shots. Okay. But it's true. I can say it's true because I lived my life that way. There was something so comforting about knowing the facts about God. Having memorized my Wayne Grudem systematic theology, but there was something comforting about knowing everything there is to know about God's omniscience, God's omnipotence, God's sovereignty and creation and the fall and hell and heaven and the rapture and the second coming and all this. There was something so comforting about knowing all that stuff. And being able to go open up my Bible and go to any number of verses to make my point, to say, see, here it is. There's something so comforting because these things never change. And therefore, I had a license to not change as well. Now, of course, there's always change and development, right? Even when I identified as an evangelical, the one who started college in 2000 was much different than the one who finished seminary in 2008. Over those 8 years, I grew and changed a lot. And my beliefs and thoughts about God grew and changed a lot as well. But there were some core principles that just never, ever changed and never were going to change in my mind. I was never going to let go of certain things about God's power and the way that God works in the world, and why God was so angry in the Old Testament is because he was sovereign and he had his ways and his ways aren't our ways. There were certain things that were never, ever, ever going to change. There's something comforting about that. because deep down inside, it gave me a license to not have to change certain things about myself either. Because of certain things about God and how I understand God, if those things will not change, then there's also certain things about myself that don't have to change either. However, now that I'm living in this world where I'm asking lots of questions, I'm living in this place of constant ambiguity, constant uncertainty, constant doubt. There's some days, I don't know what, I don't even know some days if God exists. I'm like, maybe the whole thing, maybe we're just completely off the rails and there is no God at all. And what am I doing with my life? There's days I have that. But it's in the midst of all of those different kinds of things, having all those different kinds of feelings of uncertainty and of doubt and all these different kind of things, that I don't have a license anymore to stay the same, but I have an obligation to grow. Right? When I lived out of the left brain, I had a license to stay the same because it was all about facts and figures and they don't change. But now when I live out of the right brain, and I still have the left brain stuff. It's not that that's not important, but now that I've brought the right brain in, I now have an obligation to not stay the same. Of course, there's certain things that are always going to stay the same, whatever. But what the right brain brings in is this obligation to grow, to evolve, and to change. And my walk with God will grow and evolve and change. The left brain gave me a license to stay the same. The right brain, an obligation to not stay the same, but to grow and to evolve and to change. And so what I've been doing lately, and you might want to try this too, is I've been trying to be on red alert. I mean, like red alert when I'm writing something, engaging with somebody online, and I sense that left brain pops up and starts chattering away that let's tell this person what the answer is, right? Let's tell this person, you know, this verse and you know this thing and this is what this book says, and tell this person the way it is. When I recognize that coming up, or in a blog post, let's tell all the readers what the answer is. Shut up, left brain. Right? You're important. We need you. Don't go anywhere. We need you. We need your sense of certainty sometimes. Stay there. But let's see what the right brain has to say. Because what if what you're saying, left brain, is something good? What if it's not the only good thing? What if there are many more things? Let's ask the right brain to explore this a little bit. And then I might hit the backspace and delete a few words, a few sentences, a few paragraphs, and go back and rethink what I was doing. So I'm trying to be on red alert when the left brain takes over so I can invite the right brain to the table as well. Anyway, my friends, those are some of my crazy all over the place thoughts. Again, I don't have any notes in front of me. I don't edit this. So it just kind of is a steady stream of Glenn's consciousness going out into the universe. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike too. I don't care, whatever it is. Subscribe if you can, because I got to get to 100 subscribers so I can make a customized URL. So it's not like youtube.com/35,000 letters, numbers, hyphens, dashes, question marks, periods, all those different things. But I can have like an actual youtube.com/what if project podcast or something like that. So please give it a like, give it a subscribe, pass it around to your friends. Have a fantastic week. Peace to you, my friends.